This video is sponsored by Card Trader, a global marketplace where you can buy and sell TCG cards like the Pokemon trading card game. Please use my code POPNIGHT24 at checkout where you can get 5% off your first purchase. A link will be in the description below. Thank you again to Card Trader for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showcasing Okidogi, originally from the Twilight Masquerade, but then re-released to the Prismatic Evolution set. I've never actually showcased this Pokemon in the channel yet, but it's actually really awesome. So Okidogi has the ability Adrena Power. As long as you have any dark energy attached to this Pokemon, it will receive 100 more HP, and its attack will also deal 100 more damage. With that much boost, you can pretty much 2-hit knock out most Pokemon in the game. And of course, it will be a lot more difficult for your opponent to knock out, thanks to the extra HP. And not only that, if you add in Bravery Charm to add 50 more HP, Okidogi can get as much as 280 HP, which is pretty significant. In the past, it was so difficult to make this work because you'll technically need 3 energies, 2 fighting energies for its attack, and 1 dark energy for the attack and HP modifier. But thankfully, we now have Crispin so that we can attach up to 2 energies in a turn. We also have a full set of Luminous Energy. As long as you don't have any other special energy attached to the same Pokemon, this will act as both fighting and dark energy for Okidogi, so you just need to attach 2 energies, and then you can buff up Okidogi's HP and also its attack. And as for the spec card, we'll be using Legacy Energy. This will act as 1 energy of every type, and once per game, this can also prevent your opponent from taking 1 extra prize if they knock out the Pokemon with this attached. So this can help offset the price trade quite a bit. And we do have 1 copy of Colress Tenacity so that we can search out our special energies. And since it's going to be difficult for your opponent to knock out Okidogi with a single hit, it's only natural to have Munkidori in this build as well. Thanks to its Adrena Brain ability, as long as you have a dark energy attached to this Pokemon, you can transfer up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Constantly attacking with Okidogi that requires 2 energies to attack though can become a setback, especially if your opponent can disrupt your hand, which is why having other attacking options I feel like is needed to make this work. With that said, we'll also be using Scizor more for its Punishing Scissors attack. For 1 metal energy, this attack deals 10 plus damage and 50 more damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. Depending on your matchup, this attack can actually deal serious damage. And for our other attacker, we also have Dudunsparce EX, more for its Tenacious Tail attack. For 1 colorless energy, it deals 60 damage times the number of EX Pokemon your opponent has in play. And of course, we'll be utilizing Dudunsparce as our main draw engine thanks to its ability Runaway Draw. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards, and if you do, shuffle this Pokemon and all attached into your deck. We also have Festivity EX for that extra draw, and Iron Bundle for when we need to push out our opponent's active Pokemon to their bench. And so there you have it guys, this build is actually pretty straightforward, mainly focusing on continuously dealing damage with Okidogi, but also surviving hits from attacks thanks to its high HP. Anyways, that's pretty much it. You can find the complete deck list in the description below. And now let's see this Okidogi build in action and see how it works. Before we get into the video, I have a small request. If you're liking the content I create, please leave a like to this video and please support this channel by subscribing if you haven't already. This is a small click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you so much for all of your support. Alright, on to our first match. I will be starting with Scyther in the active spot. And I do like going second with this build. That's my recommendation. And my opponent will start with Dino in their active. We're going against Hydreigon EX. They also have Pidgey, so we can expect the Pidgeot EX as well with a quick search ability. And now they're going to use Palafin to put 2 more Dinos on their bench. So Hydreigon EX mills the deck. I think it can deal as much as 200 damage, and then it can also target 3 of our Pokemon. So we got Okidogi from our first draw. We have Bravery Charm to add 50 more HP to it. And we're just going to use Iono. We have 3 Dunsparce. Alright. And with this Nest Ball, I'll fill my bench with the Munkidori. And right now, there's really not much we can do. I guess I can retreat into a Dunsparce because we can at least spare 1. And we're just going to end our turn. Thankfully, Hydreigon EX requires 4 energies before they can hit multiple targets, but a lot of our Pokemon are actually within knockout range of that, so my opponent can easily get 3 prizes if they can fully set up. So they have a Rare Candy, they have Pidgeot EX. Now they can start using the Quick Search ability. And they're going to recover Blood Moon Ursaluna EX, which can be useful late game. Bad thing about our hand though is we don't have any way to draw any more cards, so our setup is a little bit slow right now. What we need is the Dudunsparce if possible, that way we can draw 3 extra cards at least. So now my opponent has 2 energies. They have rescue board. They can easily retreat their Dino, but they're just gonna discard the top card of our deck. Alright, we got Legacy Energy. I guess I can attach it to Okidogi. And I'm just gonna end my turn. A really bad start for us though, but I'm just gonna wait it out. The thing about Luminous Energy, even if we search it out with Colorless Tenacity, it's gonna count as colorless energy because we can't mix it with another special energy. So with the Legacy Energy attached to our Okidogi, we can't power up its attack because you'll need 2 fighting energies. For the meantime though, my opponent has Rare Candy. They will evolve into Hydreigon EX. And now they're gonna start knocking out our Pokemon, milling our deck, and even have that potential to deal multiple knockouts. So they have Metal Energy. They just need 1 more energy. They can target 3 of our Pokemon, and they're gonna mill our deck. 3 cards from the top of our deck also are discarded when they attack. Thankfully though, that milled our deck into Professor's Research. Thankfully, we were able to draw into that. So we have another Okidogi. And we do have a fighting energy, so we can actually start attacking here. And I'm just gonna attack with our good punch. 170 damage to their Hydreigon EX. So with the heightened attack damage thanks to Legacy Energy acting as the dark energy as well as fighting, we are increasing our attack. And 170 damage can actually 2-hit knockout this Hydreigon EX. But with that, they have 4 energies attached to their Hydreigon already, so they can target 3 of our Pokemon, dealing 130 damage each, I think. And so they can get 3 prizes, easy. They're gonna use Iono. Alright. At least we can use Ultra Ball possibly to get the Dudunsparce, so we can draw into more cards. But now, with that, my opponent targets 3 of our Pokemon, knocking out Munkidori as well as Okidogi, and dealing 130 damage to our active. But at least we can knock out their Hydreigon EX at this point. But they are way ahead in the price trade here. So let me just set up Okidogi for now. I can attach the Luminous Energy to increase its HP. And then I could use Ultra Ball to get the Dudunsparce with a Runaway Draw ability, and then I'm just gonna use Iono for now. Put them down to just 3 cards in their hand, and then I can evolve into the Dudunsparce EX. 1 energy attachment to attack is actually pretty good in case we need it. And with the Super Rod, I'm gonna recover Dudunsparce, and also the fighting energy. And with the Artisan, I'm gonna set up Dudunsparce, or actually, yeah, let me set up Dudunsparce because we might need to draw into more cards. Let's go ahead and use Good Punch to completely knock out their Hydreigon EX, and that's gonna get us our first 2 prizes of this game. Okay, we got another Dudunsparce, and Iono could disrupt them even further actually. But thankfully they don't have any other attackers right now, and it will require a little bit before they can fully energize another Pokemon unless they have Crispin. But no, they're gonna go for Professor's Research. You can use Night Stretcher to recover 1 Pokemon or 1 energy from their discard pile. They're gonna get Hydreigon EX. They will evolve, but they don't have any energies to power it up. Serendipity EX for that 3 extra draw. They have Badoo, and they also have Klefki. Okay. They'll attach an energy and just pass for the meantime. And we have Scizor. We can evolve into that, I guess. Evolve into the Dudunsparce. And let's see, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 250 damage with Scizor. But I can also boss orders this Fastendipity. Maybe they will not be able to draw into another energy to power up their Hydreigon EX. So knocking it out could possibly be a good thing. And should I? Yeah, I'm just gonna attack. Fastendipity EX is weak against fighting, so we're dealing 340 damage, and this is gonna get us 2 more prizes. So I'm just gonna hold my hand here. We do have boss orders, and let's see, we're hitting for 200 damage. I can actually boss their Lily's Clefairy, and then we can use Scizor to deal 200 damage because they have 4 Pokemon with abilities on them, and that should get us our last 2 prizes. So despite Hydreigon EX having a lot of HP, we can just pick off one of their Pokemon with less HP. So they're gonna target the Dudunsparce EX, but I guess it's the 3 retreat cost that they're after. But that's okay. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 EX Pokemon in play, and we have boss orders. All we need to do is just attach a colorless energy to the Dudunsparce, and we should still be able to win this game. So let's go ahead and attach the luminous energy. Oh yeah, we are definitely gonna take a knockout against this Lily's Clefairy. We're gonna use Tenacious Tail, and we're dealing 240 to get us our last 2 prizes. All right, nice, good game. All right, let's move on to our next match. We won the coin flip. Again, I like going second with this build, and we're starting with Okidogi in the active spot. We have Bravery Charm to add more HP, while my opponent starts with Ditto in their active. Okay, they're gonna use Earthen Vessel to discard Lightning Energy. And they will search out Fighting and Grass Energy. They have a Hoot Hoot. So they have a Terra Pokemon in this deck. They're gonna use Ultra Ball. Discard Area 0 under Depths, and they're gonna get Teal Mask Ogre Pond EX. And they're gonna use Transformative Start with Ditto. They can search their deck for any basic, replace it in the active. And they're gonna get Raging Bolt EX. Alright, we're going against Raging Bolt EX. We'll attach a Fighting Energy, ending their turn. Let's go ahead and use our Artisan. We can search out our deck for a basic non-rule box Pokemon, and I'm gonna set up Scyther for now. Attach Bravery Charm on Okidogi, and then we can use Crispin. So we can do an attachment with the Fighting Energy, and we also have Luminous Energy. So we can actually increase our HP, increase our attack, and we're just gonna deal 170 damage to our opponent's Raging Bolt EX. And this is why going second is actually really great with this build as well. As long as you have a Luminous Energy, you can use Crispin to fully energize Okidogi. And Luminous Energy is very essential to actually get that 2 energy attachment start and fully buffed up with that extra HP. Because again, Luminous Energy acts as the Dark Energy and also Fighting Energy, so that we can fully power up its attack. It just never worked out in the past before because we didn't have Crispin. We did have early access to Luminous Energy, but that 1 attachment per turn scenario it was just not practical. So it never worked out. But now we have a lot of new cards that actually complements Okidogi, making it a little bit more usable. For now, since my opponent has a Terra Pokemon in play, they're gonna get knocked out, and by evolving, that activated the Jewel Seeker ability, allowing them to search their deck for 2 trainer cards. They have Jamming Tower to make all tools ineffective, and with that, we actually lose out on the 50 extra HP on Okidogi. Thankfully, its ability is still in effect, so we're at 230 HP. But with the 4 energies that they have, yeah. So they discard 4 energies that still hit for 280. Even without the jamming tower, they could have just knocked us out actually. So let's go ahead and evolve into Scizor. Replace their stadium with Artisan. And we're gonna continue just to set up other Pokemon so that we don't lose this game. I'm gonna use Professor's Research. We got Dunsparce, alright. And I'm gonna go ahead and use Super Rod to recover our Pokemon. Okidogi, the Dunsparce, and a Fighting Energy. And then with this Ultra Ball, I'll get Festendipity EX. That way we can draw 3 extra cards. They did just knock out one of our Pokemon. So Flip the Script allows us to draw 3 extra cards. So we got our Bravery Charm, but unfortunately we whiffed our Metal Energies. So in this build, the only way you can power up Scizor's attack is actually with any of the Luminous Energies. And we do have one basic Metal Energy in this deck. But unfortunately we didn't draw into one of those. So we couldn't actually attack. We would have been able to knock out their Raging Bolt EX, but we missed that energy. And we're probably just going to lose this Scizor against our opponent here. Okay, they're setting up a lot of Hoot Hoots. Very reliant on the Jewel Seeker ability to get the trainer cards that they need. All the meantime, they're using the Teal Dance ability, allowing them to reattach Grass Energies while also drawing 1 extra card with their Ogerpon. So, with that, Raging Bolt EX is fully energized again. They can use Bellowing Thunder to deal 140 damage, just discarding the energies attached to the Raging Bolt EX, and that knocks out our Scizor. So we lose 2 prizes against our opponent now. So we gotta get with the program here, start taking our own prizes. I'm gonna go ahead and set up another Scizor. That 1 energy attachment could go a long way, especially if you can't fully energize Okidogi's attack. But let's see what we could do here. Just needs a little bit of damage to knock out the Raging Bolt. So I'm just gonna use Crispin, and I think I want to get the Dark Energy along with the Fighting. We'll attach to Okidogi, and then I'll use Ultra Ball to get let's see here. Let's get the Dunsparce because we need to remove our active. So once we use our Runaway Draw ability, we'll shuffle this back to the deck while drawing extra cards. We can remove it from the active because we couldn't retreat it. Got another Dudunsparce. We also have Luminous Energy. Let's go ahead and draw 3 more cards. Okay, we got our Scizor. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish off this Raging Bolt EX for the meantime. So that's going to get us our first 2 prizes. We got the Dunsparce EX, alright. Actually, if they fill their board with a bunch of Noctowls, Scizor can actually deal a lot of damage. With the Dunsparce though, the Dunsparce EX will probably be dealing 180 at most. So my opponent has Crispin. They can fully energize their Raging Bolt EX, easily retreat their Ogerpon, but they need 4 energies to knock out our Okidogi, which they'll have. There's the Lighting Energy. They need a Fighting Energy to attach to Raging Bolts. Teal Dance to attach, draw. And Raging Bolt EX has a lot of item cards to help them recover, so it's not going to be hard for them to actually search out the energies that they need. And they have Ultra Ball. They're going to go for another Raging Bolt EX, alright. Night Stretcher for that Fighting Energy, most probably. Yep. What I'm afraid of is if they take out our Serendipity EX, that's gonna get them 2 prizes. But with so much HP on Okidogi, only losing 1 prize if your opponent knocks it out is actually really great for the prize trade. So they're gonna knock out Okidogi. We have Dudunsparce in the active. We can use flip the script to draw into more cards. I'm gonna go ahead and use Super Rod to recover another Okidogi and a bunch of energies. Use Artisan to set up another Okidogi. Evolve into Scizor. Get 2 Dudunsparce with our Palafin. And I'll need a Metal Energy to attack, but that's going to be 150. We have the Dudunsparce. We can attach an energy. I can use Iono, put my opponent down to just 3 in their hand. Maybe they don't have Noctowl, and maybe that's going to slow them down. So I'm just going to risk it. We're going to use Tenacious Tail, deal 180 damage to their Raging Bolt EX, and go from there. So the Dudunsparce EX is a little bit of a liability because we already know with just 4 energies, Raging Bolt EX can deal 280 damage against our Pokemon. And being an EX, we can give up 2 prizes easy. So this is gonna be really bad. So Professor Sada's Vitality allows them to accelerate an energy to Raging Bolt EX. Again, with so many item cards to help them recover energies, I don't doubt that my opponent can easily get the cards that they need here. They have Prime Catcher though. They're going to target Serendipity EX. You know what, guys? We also have Legacy Energy. So they have the switch. Do they have more energies? No, they're gonna use Burst Roar. Okay. Did they misclick? I mean, having only 2 energies, they're not gonna knock out Serendipity EX. Let's get this Fest out of the active. Can use Iono one more time. Okay, more Dudunsparce. That's good. Let's go ahead and evolve this. Runaway draw to draw 3. Okay. Just gonna keep replacing the Dudunsparce lineup so that we can keep drawing extra cards. And maybe we have Nest Ball. We also have Artisan. Let's go ahead and use Artisan. Let's get another Dudunsparce. Retreat this guy into the Dudunsparce EX, and we're just gonna finish off their Raging Bolt EX, getting us another 2 prizes. So with that, we have boss's orders. I mean, I can try and finish off one of their Ogerpons, I guess. 210 HP. Although Serendipity EX is weak against fighting. So if there's a way we can fully energize our Okidogi, we have... Oh, my opponent concedes. All right, I will take that win. All right, let's move on to our 3rd match. And we're going to start this one with 2 Scythers. We also have Legacy Energy. And again, if your opponent knocks out your Pokemon with Legacy Energy, they take 1 less prize. But that only works once per game. So against this matchup, we're going against Palafin EX, I believe. So they're going to start with Finizen in their active. They have Petron EX, alright. And also Brute Bonnet for poisoning. Very typical because Palafin EX, it has that baby Palafin with the 0 hero ability. They have to switch it out so that they can evolve into Palafin EX. But for now, let's go ahead and use Artisan, set up our Okidogi, attach Legacy Energy. And I'm just going to use Iono. That way we can set up more of our basics. We got an Ultra Ball. Let's go ahead and discard 2 Ionos, I think is fine. We have Professor's Research to help us draw extra cards next turn anyways. and then I'm just gonna end my turn. So Okidogi has the potential to attack on our first turn going second, but it requires a lot of specific cards so that you can do that. But as of right now, we couldn't attack. We actually left their Finizen safe and sound in their active. They'll attach a water energy. And Palafin EX only requires one water energy to attack for a lot of damage. We're going to use Arvin. Searching their deck for an item card and also a tool card. And they're going to get Precious Trolley and the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. So Precious Trolley allows them to search their deck for as many basic Pokemon as they want, and they can put it straight to their bench. And of course, the Booster Energy Capsule, when they attach it to their Brute Bonnet, they can start poisoning both the active Pokemon. Okay, they're gonna go for more Peko and another Finizen. There's the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule to Brute Bonnet. And with the Ultra Ball, they will discard Palafin EX. And they're gonna get Palafin, the baby Palafin, with a hero or 0 to hero ability. And by using Petron EX to transfer Morpeko into the active, that puts that Palafin to the bench, activating its ability so that they can evolve into Palafin EX, and now they can attack for 250 damage for a single water energy. Insane combo. So Morpeko with no energies attached, it has 0 retreat cost, so they can just easily retreat it. So now it's our turn. At least we have Okidogi fully energized. We're just gonna use Super Rod because we're gonna use Professor's Research anyways. We got Bravery Charm to increase our HP, which is nice. We got another Okidogi. And I think I'm gonna go for another Dunsparce and another Scyther. Gonna draw extra cards with Runaway Draw. Got another Dunsparce. And I'm just gonna attack with Good Punch. 170 damage. So Palafin EX cannot attack twice in a row. But you know what? With Morpeko and Petron EX in play, they can just keep switching Morpeko into the active, retreat it, and they can just keep attacking with Palafin EX every single turn, which is a pretty insane combo. 250 every single turn, and Palafin EX has a lot of HP. There goes another Palafin. So they could possibly evolve into another Palafin EX. But thankfully, Okidogi's attack damage output is enough to actually two-hit knock out a Palafin EX. So it's just the right number for us to be able to knock out their EX. For now though, there's really no way for them to knock out our Okidogi, so I guess they're just gonna soften it up with Baby Petron with the ability to increase poison damage every Pokemon checkup. So now we have 6 damage counters. We receive 6 damage from our poison, and we're just gonna try and set up as much as possible here. We can evolve into Scizor, and then I guess I can finish off this Petron in the active. That's gonna get us our first prize. And all the meantime, I'm just gonna start setting up my second Okidogi. And with the Artisan, I will get Munkidori. It's a great way for me to transfer poison damage, I guess. But for now, I'm just gonna use Good Punch, deal 340 damage to knock out their Petron, because it's weak to fighting. And we got our first prize, another energy. But the thing about it is, our second Okidogi, if we just attach a basic fighting energy, we're only dealing 70 damage with no HP buff. So that's the only thing about Okidogi. Just setting up its ability is very specific, you know? To make it work, you actually rely on Luminous Energy. Otherwise, if you can attach another fighting and basic dark energy, then you can get those buffs. But as it is, it's really difficult to set one up. That's why having 1 energy attackers in this build is essential, I think, to be able to keep up with your opponent's setup. But for now, my opponent was able to set up another, or evolve into another Palafin EX, and sure enough, my opponent also has Binding Mochi. if both active Pokemon are poisoned, or if their Pokemon is poisoned with that Binding Mochi, it will increase their attack by 40 more damage. Of course, with 250 damage plus 40 with the Binding Mochi and poison, they can actually deal as much as 300 damage. But thankfully we have Legacy Energy. They did knock out our Okidogi, but they don't get any prizes because of Legacy Energy. So we're still on an even playing field here, which is pretty nice. But like I said, with no Dark Energy, thankfully we have Colress Tenacity. That way we can get Luminous Energy. But I'm just gonna attack with Scizor, deal 260 damage because they have so many Pokemon with abilities on them. It's a great way to soften up this Palafin EX, and maybe later on we can just keep transferring damage counters with Munkidori. So that's one way we can knock out their Palafin EX. But with both Palafin EX heavily damaged, we can actually start knocking them out. But still, it's gonna take a while before we can take extra prizes here. It's just setting up another Okidogi is a little bit cumbersome. But we're getting there, I guess. Alright, they're gonna attack with the other Palafin EX, knocking out our Scizor. They get another prize. And like I said, again, probably what's gonna win us here is the prize trade. But we still have to figure out how to knock out this Palafin EX. We have Luminous Energy. I'm gonna go ahead and use Crispin. I can attach this Fighting Energy. Attach the Dark Energy. Use Runaway Draw. Put Dunsparce in play. Actually, I should have just put the Luminous Energy to Okidogi. So it was a little bit of a misstep there. I think I should have just attached the Dark Energy with Crispin and then attached for turn the Luminous Energy to Okidogi, not the other way around. But it is what it is. That was a little bit of a blunder, I guess. But let's just make the best of it. That's probably gonna cost us the game though. We could have gotten 2 prizes by knocking out this Palafin EX already, but all we're gonna do is 70 damage to it. Man, okay. That could have cost us the game, actually. So the question is, are we gonna be able to recover from this? So that's one thing that I really don't like about Okidogi, is that it's very dependent on these special energies. You need 2 fighting, but you also need a Dark Energy again to increase its attack and also its HP. So even with the 2 fighting energies, at 70 damage output it's not all that great. So my opponent again retreats into Palafin, dealing 210 damage. So this is baby Palafin. Its attack only works if you switch it from the bench to the active. Otherwise, its second attack is not going to do anything. But they managed to knock out another Okidogi. We got Scizor though, and a Metal Energy, and we have boss orders. Okay, let me go ahead and take out this Petron because this is the only thing that's getting in our way, I guess. I'm just going to use Serendipity to draw into more cards. We need to recover our Okidogi actually. Let me get another Munkidori. But let me just go ahead and knock out Petron EX. That's gonna prevent them from continuing to switch out their Pokemon. But at 2 prizes remaining, I think they're just gonna knock out my Scizor here. And then if they have boss orders, they can just target my Serendipity EX to get the last 2 prizes. So I think, man, I should have attached the Luminous Energy to Okidogi. But despite that, they can just one-hit knockout our Pokemon with their Binding Mochi Palafin EX. But yeah, I don't want to put the Dunsparce EX, but I might just have to attack with it because I don't have any other attackers here. We gotta use Super Rod to recover my Okidogis along with another Fighting Energy, replace their Perilous Jungle Stadium, which increases the poison damage. That way we can set up our Okidogi. But again, with no other attackers, I might have to rely on the Dunsparce. But they could just use Palafin EX with the Binding Mochi, and they can win it. So I'm not sure what to do here. I could just boss their Brute Bonnet, I guess. I just hope they are not going to be able to retreat it. I'll go ahead and set up my Okidogi. Runaway Draw to remove this Dunsparce from the active. And I'm just going to sacrifice my Munkidori for the meantime. And I'm just going to end my turn. So what I need is a Fighting Energy to attach to our Okidogi to increase our, or to be able to attack. But then again, putting Munkidori in the active is a little bit awkward because now we have to attach an energy to it just so we can retreat it. So okay, You know what though, if my opponent has Latias EX, or if they can recover Petron EX, it's gonna be game over. I mean, they're taking one prize by knocking out Munkidori, but next turn I'm probably just gonna use Iono. That way I can disrupt their hand and go from there. Alright, they're just gonna pass. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, we got Crispin. Okay. We got Crispin. Do I have two different types of energies? Because that way I can attach an energy to Munkidori and then attach for turn on Okidogi. But let's get another Okidogi in play. I'm just gonna have to use Iono, guys, because if I don't disrupt my opponent's hand, they might just have a boss orders and finish off one of our benched two prize Pokemon and win the game. So stalling, I think, is the best option. They have Gravity Mountain, okay, to replace our Stadium. That's not gonna affect us that much. We don't have any stage 2s. They have Kieran. Okay, they can switch their Pokemon. And they're gonna go for Palafin. Justice Kick. Once again, dealing 210 damage. Now they're down to just one prize remaining. We have Okidogi. Let's go ahead and use Flip the Script. I think we're gonna lose this, guys. I think that energy attachment blunder just cost us the game, but we're gonna do our best. I mean, we have boss orders. I probably just need to trap. They don't have any other way to switch out their Pokemon, right? And I think trapping their Brute Bonnet to stall is the best option. I mean, they can't use Palafin anymore to attack, but I'm just gonna go with Brute Bonnet, trap it into the active. We can use Good Punch. We're not knocking it out just yet. And I mean, if we receive damage, we can probably just transfer the damage counters with Munkidori and then just finish off one of their Palafin to get the last two prizes. So, I mean, we're still in it. We got Crispin, though. We got Crispin. I mean, they're down to one card in their hand. Oh wait, we got a Fighting Energy though. Okay. Let me go ahead and attach to Fessidipity EX. I'm just gonna end my turn. I'm not gonna finish off their Brute Bonnet because they have the means to knock us out. They just need the Binding Mochi Palafin EX to attack, poison both Pokemon with Brute Bonnet, and they can just easily knock out Okidogi. So, I mean, even without the poison, they can just... We got Crispin. You know what, guys? Thanks to their Iono, since we have two different types of energies, I can attach two energies to Fezandipity EX, and what I'm going to do is just snipe their Pokemon on their bench. And I think I'm going to start with this Mochi Palafin EX. We got two more prizes. If they cannot retreat their Brute Bonnets, we might still be able to win this, guys. We just have to target their... Or I can just knock out Brute Bonnet here, but either way, we just need one more prize to win it. And my opponent concedes. Unbelievable. We actually made it. On to our fourth and final match. I had to mulligan once, but now I'll be starting with Munkidori in the active spot. And once again, I will be going second in this matchup. And I think it does make a big difference if you go second. My opponent will start with Brute Bonnet in their active. You set up Petron. Why is everybody using Poison combo all of a sudden? And they're going to set up Latias EX. Alright, that gives all their basic Pokemon with no retreat cost, so they can easily get this Brute Bonnet out of the active actually. They found their Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. Now they can poison both active with Brute Bonnet's ability. And of course, Petron increases poison damage. And they used Carmine to draw into more cards. And they're just going to use Toxic Powder to poison Munkidori. Retreat into Petron. And we receive 6 poison damage. If we had a low HP Pokemon, my opponent would have actually won on their first turn. Thankfully, we have Buddy Buddy Poffin, so we can set up Scizor and Dudunsparce. And I think I'm just going to use Iono here. Okay, we got another Dudunsparce and Okidogi. I can attach the Fighting Energy, and I'm just going to end my turn. Unfortunately, I could not retreat my Munkidori, and it just gets knocked out by the poison, getting my opponent their first prize. So I'll sacrifice this Dudunsparce. Although with the poison, they're only dealing 6 damage between Pokemon checkups, so we should be able to survive by 10 HP going into our turn. But looks like we're going against Roaring Moon EX. Alright. Not only are we dealing with poison, they also have Roaring Moon EX. Poison Chain. Okay, they deal 10 damage and then they poison us and we just get knocked out by the poison. That's insane. Alright. Well, we are losing, guys. I mean, we can evolve into the Dudunsparce. We have Scizor. We have Metal Energy. We have Professor's Research to join 2 more cards, which is pretty awesome, actually. We got Artisan. We go ahead and set up another Dudunsparce. That will increase our draw. We have our Bravery Charm to give us more HP. And I'm going to set up Munkidori. Maybe we can transfer the damage, poison damage that we receive. And I'm just going to take a knockout against their Petron. That will get us our first prize. We got Crispin, okay. So we have Luminous Energy. Again, it's important to keep in mind that to activate Okidogi's attack and HP buff, you need that Dark Energy. So having Luminous Energy along with a basic Fighting Energy is the best setup for Okidogi. They will boss my Okidogi though with the Bravery Charm. And they're just going to go for Calamity Storm, dealing 220 damage by discarding the Stadium in play. Alright, so... okay, we got another Okidogi. I guess we can use Crispin. I can attach the Fighting Energy and then attach the Luminous Energy. Can use Artisan. I'll get Dudunsparce. And I'm just going to attack with Good Punch, dealing 170 damage. So either way, if my opponent uses the instant knockout, they will knock themselves out. But even if they use the second attack, by discarding the Stadium, it's dealing 220. So we should be able to survive that attack. But then again, they can poison us as well, so we can still die from the poison. So this Roaring Moon EX combo with the poison is actually pretty annoying. And they have Munkidori. I guess they can transfer the damage to Okidogi. They can deal 220, still knock it out. But no, they're going to go for Dunsparce on our bench. And they're going to go for the poison. I guess they have so many options for dealing extra damage that it doesn't really matter. 220, and then the poison. That will knock out our Okidogi. Pretty annoying, but it is what it is. So, they have 3 Pokemon with abilities, so we're actually dealing 160 damage. We can take a knockout against this Roaring Moon EX. And then I could just put the damage counters from our Dunsparce back to their Pokemon. We'll just recover a few here, and then I'm just gonna use Iono, put them down to just 2 cards in their hand, which they don't have any other draw options. Hopefully that will get them stuck in their predicament. But we do have the Dunsparce. Let me actually just evolve this one. That way we can let's see. I'll actually just put it in the active. That way my opponent can't transfer any damage from their Pokemon. Runaway draw. Okay, we got another Okidogi. And then I'm just gonna use Punishing Scissors, dealing 160 damage, taking out their Roaring Moon EX, getting us 2 prizes. Hey, we got Legacy Energy. Okay, cool. That could actually help us offset the price trade. Okay, they're gonna transfer energy to Petrunt. Perilous Jungle, okay. Poison Chain, 80 damage. That's right. Perilous Jungle increases poison damage as well. Let's go ahead and evolve this. Thankfully, we drew into the Dunsparce. And this time, I'm going to use Nest Ball to get another Dunsparce. Let's see here. Replace their jungle. That way, it will decrease the poison. And then I can transfer damage counters to Petrunt. Put Legacy Energy to one of our Okidogis. Draw into more cards with the Dunsparce. And we got Boss's Orders. Okay. Boss's Orders. So we're dealing 5, 10, 15. Let's go ahead and actually knock out this guy. 210 damage, dude. Punishing Scissors. Man, Scizor is so awesome, guys. Thankfully, it does have that 10 plus damage. And even though we're poisoned, we still survive because we were able to transfer the damage counters with Munkidori, which is pretty awesome. So, with no Perilous Jungle, we removed that extra damage, healed up Scizor, and now we survived the attack. So we're left with 1 prize remaining after knocking out their Latias EX. We have a Boss's Orders in our hand. As long as they don't use Iono, I think we should be fine. Okay, they have Perilous Jungle, that's fine. We will not need Scizor anymore. They're gonna switch into their Roaring Moon EX. They're just gonna pass. We were knocked out by that poison, but we do have Okidogi. And we have Fighting Energy. And let's see. I mean, we just need 1 energy. Let's just go ahead and finish this off by knocking out their Petrunt, getting us our last prize. And that will win us the game. That was a close one, but we got it. Good game. And that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching the Popsicleknight channel. And until next time, please stay safe and have a great day.